I'm out here on Main Street in Rockwell, Iowa, the new home of Big Stick Archery. Pretty good Main Street life. But so here's the shop. Got a pretty sweet little sign out front, but figured I'd get in and give you guys a little tour. I've been here a couple of months and haven't showed it off yet, so let's get to her. So we'll start right here at the front door, right where you walk in at. Got a nice custom coat rack that my sister made me quite a few years ago. Actually, the coat rack, along with, I don't know, 80% of this stuff came from the original shop, the 10 square foot shoebox of a shop. We were packing stuff up to move it to this new one. We have no idea how all that stuff came out of that little place, but it did. You know, just now the front half, just the front half of the new shop is about half again as big as the old one. So I don't know, there's a lot more room now, so we won't complain about it, but no idea how all that stuff came out of the old place. So either way, custom coat rack, hang up the coats, keep the handy dandy Boyer work apron handy with the you know, pens, remote for the dust collector, all that good stuff. And then we got some forms stacked up here, and then I got a pillow down here for Eva. She don't show up too often, but I like to keep a little spot for her to lay down in case the princess does show up. So anyway, this is kind of just the overall layout as you walk in. Got the bench, and then the tools kind of spread out in the middle part of the front room here. So I'll probably go ahead and set the camera up and go over a little more specifically each of these kind of the workstations here in the front half, and then we'll move to the back half, show that off. So first thing I'll talk about is this behemoth of a bench. This did not come from with the old shop. I had a lot of time in the old shop to think about how I would like to build a new bench, and after 7 years or 8 years or however long it was, got the opportunity to, and here she is. She come to fruition. It took a couple of days, but she was well worth it. So I kind of built this to primarily take care of glue ups and keep everything with gluing things up kind of centralized. And it's working out pretty good. So I got my forms here on one end. It's kind of where I got those stacked up. I've got my compressor handy down here on the other side, so ready to blow up the air hose in my forms. Both sides of the bench have hooks or hangers that I have various clamps on. So those are ready to go, and I'm gluing on the second glue up, and I'm doing the tip scripts and accents. Those are all handy. I've got the pegboard up. I kind of have just some old templates, and do use the limb templates quite a bit. Keep the shooting deer and drinking beer thermometer handy, so I can keep an eye on the heat in here. It does have heat, so that's a big upgrade. It didn't used to have heat, but it doesn't really have a thermostat, so I kind of got to keep an eye on it and kind of do it manually, but still a huge upgrade. And then I just got a couple of oddball protractors or rulers and that kind of stuff, levels, and of course some party time speaker and Bluetooth headphones for listening to podcasts or whatever. And let's see, oh, and then I got some glue up shelves set up over here on the end. Epoxy, mixing cups, jigs for gluing on accents and all that kind of crap. So it's all basically right in this little area. But then just kind of as far as the bench goes, I have a couple of shelves set up top here. Keep air hoses, glass, whatever I'm gluing up next, like lamps I'm gluing up next, those kind of go up there. The main workbench is pretty darn tall. I want to say it's like 43 inches. But I needed it that high to get the stuff underneath of it that I have under there. And it still works pretty good. It's an okay height for me to, you know, glue everything up, get things in the form, get things clamped up. Because then I have a shelf underneath that's big enough that once I clamp up the second round and have, you know, the tip scripts and accents clamped up with big C-clamps, I can still slide them underneath here. And then underneath that, it's still enough room for me to have my box, my oven stored underneath, so I can pull that out once I get one into a form, open up the box, drop her in, and then slide it back underneath the bench, and it's all out of the way. I think there's one in the box, a few there, so I think there's 7, 8 in the middle of getting glued up, and they're all just right in the bench out of the way. So keeps the rest of the shop a lot nicer. I like that a lot. So starting here at the table saw station, just gonna kind of work my way down the wall here. Not a lot going on at the table saw station. Pretty cut and dry. Just got the table saw, got a couple wrenches to change the blades. That's about it. I don't use it for a whole lot. It definitely doesn't get the use that the other stations do. I do have a 4x24 sander sitting over here that I bought like 4 months ago, expecting the ridge that I have to die, and it still hasn't died, so I guess I'm still, still got one in the back pocket, but hopefully get a few more dollars saved up. I'm going to get a big 6x80 edge sander and squeeze that in over here by the table saw. But that's it. We'll move on to the next spot here. So I'm set up in the center workstation here. I'm having kind of a hard time getting a good angle for you guys here, but this will have to do. The center workstation is just the drum sander and the bandsaw, and then I've kind of got just things that I use with those kind of handy on the wall here. I've got my bamboo stock sitting over here by the bandsaw. I've got my fence sitting down here on the floor, and then I've got like all my sleds for grinding lambs hanging on the wall right here, so they're good and handy. And that's kind of it for the center workstation. Let's swing around to the last workstation behind me here. So last and certainly not least, we have I'll call it the sanding station. I got the rigid set up on here right now. It's here most of the time for shaping grips and whatnot. That's sitting on the old workbench that came from the old shop. It's still hanging in there somehow, but it made the trip down, so that's cool. I'm still getting to use that a bit. I did throw an extra shelf underneath of the bench, so I can keep a couple of sanders handy down there that I don't use as often. I also have a couple of palm sanders and a cutoff wheel set up next to the bench in a trash can. And then kind of over in the corner wall, I've got a couple shelves of accents materials that I can sort through, see if I can find what I need. Throw the cutoff wheel up here, get the accents prepped, take them over to the glue table. And then also the bottom shelf just has a bunch of files and paper for finish sanding, the Dremel for stippling. So kind of just a bunch of stuff all stuck in a corner, as neat as possible. But that kind of sums up the workstations here in the front half. So I think maybe we'll have a little rundown on the dust collection system here, and then have a look at the back half of the shop. So my dust collection system, pretty happy about this as well. I had the dust collector at the old shop, the same one, and I don't know, I had a bunch of flex hose just running up kind of through the rafter and dropping into the ceiling in the shop. Wasn't great. It was better than the shop vac, but definitely needed some improvements, which I went ahead and made here. So got this pretty sweet PVC pipe system set up to run a main line from one end of the building all the way down to the other end of the building, and you can see kind of the dust collector where it comes out here. But we'll start in this half. So in the front half of the room, I just have the PVC main line, and then I have 3 different ports dropping down to the different workstations, and then they all have the blast gates on them. So just kind of close whichever one you're not using, and it should work out whether I move workstations around or whatever. They're kind of just evenly distributed across the main work area, so it should work out regardless. But let's see if we can kind of just follow this. We'll just follow the old main line back. There's another blast gate. There's the last blast gate. We hang a little corner. And then it runs out here into the back room. And then the end of the main PVC line ends up right here. So picking up where we left off, we got the, there it is. Picking up where we left off, we got the main line, the main PVC line coming from the front of the building all the way back to the back here where it drops into this separator, and hopefully get some of the big chips out before it goes over to the dust collector, where it's kind of the end of the road. And I would say that keeping her clean and having this PVC for the main pipe has definitely given her a little extra snort over just having a bunch of flex hose running. So super happy with that. One hitch in the giddy up in this whole deal was my dust collector is right next to my spray booth, which is not ideal since the place I want the least dust or no dust is right next to a place where the most dust comes. So I do have this high-end filtration system set up above the dust collector. It's just a box fan with an air filter over it. As long as I keep the filter clean, it seems to work pretty good. You know, you can see the dust coming from the filter bag on the collector up to the fan, but definitely need to keep that clean as well. Kind of par for the course, it seems, with the dust collection. But so that kind of wraps it up for the dust collector setup. Pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of my PVC ductwork job, but let's see what else is hanging out in the back half of the shop here. Kind of heading to the back, I've got a bunch of just G10 material and whatnot. The bow scale set up in the doorway. Didn't really have anywhere else to put it. And then coming right around the corner here is where the spray booth is set up. It's got a little curtain and some plastic hanging in here. Little hook to hang the bows. And got a fan in there that blows the air out the wall right here. So it hasn't worked. The fan hasn't worked as great as I had hoped, but the spray booth is way better than I had set up before. So all in all, another sweet upgrade at the new shop. And then kind of behind there, or behind me in the little hallway here, I've got another stash of just larger boards. There's a couple shelves here of, well, let's turn it around. A couple shelves here of just veneer material and material to cut into veneers. And then we have the cabinet here. So the cabinet is just kind of all sorts of miscellaneous stuff. Got some stuff for 2 pieces. Got my India ink for kind of writing the names and specs on bows. Some finish cleaner. 2-piece jig, some extra wood, the sprayers down there. So kind of just, you know, the miscellaneous stuff. Bunch of wood stashed wherever I can find a spot. So I have a lot more room here. Didn't used to have a lot of room to store wood, so I'm looking forward to maybe getting a little bit of extra wood stashed into all the corners here at the new shop. But next to this in the back we have, well, you can see we're at the back door. We're at the end, the south end of the building. So we have, I got a cabinet here. Got some crap sitting up on top, some filters for the dust collection filter, and then kind of just a bunch of stuff that I don't need but I need. Got some glue and sandpaper and blades and miscellaneous tools and screws and kind of just crap like that that doesn't get a lot of use but can't get rid of. Keep that back here in the old cabinet. Next to the cabinet, I've got a bathroom. It's you know, it's got a busted mirror, but what the hey, it's got a sink and a toilet and running water, so plenty good for me. But that's we're about getting to the end of her here. I got a cabinet set up here, you know, some toilet paper and granola bars and garbage bags and whatnot. And then I guess kind of last but not least, certainly, is the old lunch fridge that usually just has beer in it. So, all right, well, that sums up the tour of the new shop. enjoying it so far. Definitely not missing the old shop. Glad for what I was able to get done there, but this place is a whole lot better, and not looking to downgrade anytime soon. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the tour. Hopefully I'll get out some new videos on maybe just some bow building specifically. So either way, keep an eye out for those. And turkey season's right around the corner, so hang in there. Winter's almost over.